The story of what we found in the haunted house, what was lurking in the cornfields, or what was waiting for us in the abandoned building. But today we're going to look at automotive horror stories. And no, I don't mean the Cybertruck actually coming into production, I mean automotive ghost stories. There's a few out there with truly famous or infamous cars depending on how you look at it, and today we're going to dive right into it. No dawdling, grab your Skittles and let's get right into it. As we all know, John F. Kennedy rode around in a 1961 Lincoln Continental convertible, codename SS-100X. On November 22, 1963, John F. Kennedy was assassinated in the car. Why they no longer use convertibles? But as the car is now on display at the Henry Ford Museum, there's been a number of visitors who's reported seeing some sort of apparition or a ghostly figure, leading to the speculation that the JFK Lincoln Continental convertible limousine is indeed haunted. An urban legend that came from London from the 1930s. But the tale goes that Bus 7 was a London double-decker bus, and as drivers would be driving at night, Bus 7 would actually come directly into contact with them, making the driver swerve off the road and crash. But after the crash, the driver got out of the car, there would be no sighting of the bus ever. What makes all this more wild is it wasn't just sort of random occurrences that happened all across London, but all these would happen in the intersection of Cambridge Gardens and Lambeth Grove, where the bus would suddenly appear, the driver would crash, and they would see nothing. Despite reports started in the 1930s, they went all the way to the 1990s in the exact same intersection. In the 1990s, though, the intersection went under a lot of construction, making it wider in every direction and putting in better lighting so people could actually see better, and after all that happened, no accidents happened anymore. Now this is totally an urban legend, but one thing is noted, it was only ever that intersection, it was always a bus, and nobody ever got any evidence on it. But there's been no reports since the early 1990s. The Black Volga was an urban legend developed in the 1960s in Eastern Europe. In the 1960s and 1970s, people kept reporting seeing a black Gaz 21 Volga, always black and reported having horns on the mirrors. The Black Volga would kind of appear out of nowhere and was always reported to suck people into the car as if it was a vacuum. With the horns, the urban legend kind of said the car is being driven by the devil himself. The more likely scenario with this is it was probably driven by some sort of Eastern Europe Secret Service who very well could have been kidnapping people because that's kind of where they were at that point. Or more disturbingly, since it was primarily children that were being abducted, could have been something much, much darker, which I don't really know if I can talk about on the channel properly. Nonetheless, that one ends up being kind of creepy, not due to a ghostly apparition, but an actual abduction that was known to happen with this, urban legend or not. In 1914, Franz Ferdinand was assassinated in his 1910 Graf Stift Double Phantom. After Franz Ferdinand's assassination, it ended up triggering World War I, which, funny enough, the license plate on Franz Ferdinand's limo, A111-118, which ended up being the exact date World War I ended, being November 11th, 1918. After his death, the car was being used and operated for the next 12 years. But during those years, the car was involved in 6 accidents and 13 deaths, giving it this reputation of being one of the most unlucky cars ever, and truly one of the most cursed cars ever. The Golden Eagle is now famous on the internet for being one of the most evil cars in America. It was originally purchased as a police vehicle in Old Orchard Beach, Maine. The Golden Eagle was eventually sold off after only 3 officers actually drove it. Because as the story goes, all 3 police officers ended up removing their families from existence along with themselves shortly after. Shortly after the car was sold off, it was vandalized by a couple of people in the town who knew about the car's history. All the people who vandalized the Golden Eagle ended up dying from freak accidents, including a lightning strike and being hit by an 18-wheeler. By 2010, the death toll for the Golden Eagle reached 14 people, not including injuries caused by the Golden Eagle. In the 2010s, a local church wanted to actually tear the car apart and sell it for scrap metal because it was too evil. But the owner actually loved the car. Despite the doors would fly open and going down the highway every now and then, she loved the car and didn't want to get rid of it. I'm sure the church can use thoughts and prayers. They seem to be fine using that for everything else. The Little Bastard, as many people know, is James Dean's silver Porsche 550 Spider. And as many people know, in 1955, James Dean got into an accident with said Porsche 550, writing off the car and killing him in the process. That's not where the story ends, though. After the accident, Little Bastard is actually stripped for parts at the salvage yard, and the suspension, the transmission, the engine all go into different race cars which all crashed, causing fatalities in every car. Someone eventually decided they wanted to put the car back together and have it out on display. During the process of putting it back together, the car actually caught fire multiple times in storage, fell off its display and breaking someone's hip, and ended up crushing a delivery driver whose job it was to transport the car. But in 1960, the car was stolen off a train and it's never been seen since. I've heard other things like people going to check out the car and then getting sick, or some people stealing from the car and then developing cancer. Who knows? But it definitely was one of the most cursed cars we were ever graced with. But as always, I want to know, what do you think? Did you enjoy this video? Which car would you want to drive the most? And do you like the Simpsons Treehouse of Horrors or the Brooklyn Nine-Nine Halloween Heist more? Let me know in the comments. Thank you all so much for watching. Like, subscribe, enjoy what you've seen. I did it post a couple times a week, and I'll see you later. Happy Halloween.